Taurus, let's look at what Pluto is going to do for you as it moves into Aquarius and out of Capricorn. Um, the first thing I want you to know is that um, if you look back to 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, you see how Pluto impacted your life at that time. This will not be like that. The reason is um, two things. Well, three things. Probably more than that, but let's just go with three. So the first reason is in 2008, Pluto was going into Capricorn. And Capricorn is a very different energy than Aquarius. Polar opposite in a lot of ways. Capricorn is the heaviest of the earth signs. It governs things deep below the surface, heavy, weightier gravity, strongest gravity. Aquarius, on the other hand, is an air sign, and even space. It governs space, all things solar system, universe. So zero gravity, totally different feel to Aquarius, and then many other kinds of things between those two signs are very, very, night and day difference. So the energy is very different. Also, thing two is Pluto's going over your midheaven and into a different area of your chart. So it's going to govern very different parts of your life. It's actually a really strong cycle here. So hang in there if it feels scary, and I'll talk to you about why it's good. The third thing is you are an older person. You're 15 years older than you were when Pluto went into Capricorn. You learned a ton of lessons during the last 15 years. You are a stronger version of you, a deeper version of you. You've learned so much, and you've changed your whole philosophy. The way you look at the world's totally different. Maybe you don't see it that way, but I bet people around you see it. If you don't see it, you've learned. You may have been getting a string of degrees during this time, but if not that, you've been really transforming just your global, ideological, religious, all these views have really gone through a transformation or solidified and become stronger. You also may have, if you needed to market and sell stuff, or maybe just yourself, you got really strong at that by the end. Like you may have started in 2008 with a lower sense of self-esteem and a bad view of yourself, and you may have ended this cycle, hopefully, as I talk to you now, you have a much stronger sense of self. And you've come just light years since 2008. Now it's time to really redo your whole idea of what your career is and who you are as a public figure. And by public, it could mean that, you're famous, but it's just, we're all public figures in some way, unless we're just total recluses and off the grid. But even then, you do have a persona that comes out publicly if someone were to see you. So you can hide under a rock, but this is still a public area. It's how people see you. It's how you see yourself. And it also governs how you move through the world, influencing the world. And it may be that you get money for this. It may be that you don't get money. So if you're just a philanthropist or somebody who doesn't work, you're still going to be in a major transformation in terms of your public, the way the people see you and feel about you, and the way you feel about yourself. So it's your identity in a very public way. Some of you may be feeling like you're becoming famous right now. Pluto, and this is a very strong place to have Pluto. It tends to be, I know it's not easy, like, oh, everything's just so easy now. It's not like that, because Pluto still requires grit and facing your fears, because Pluto's all about your fears and facing them. But Pluto gives you the tools to face your fears and to move through your fears. So it's helping you out by making you scared all the time. So you may feel like as you enter this phase of your life that suddenly you have a ton of responsibility, or suddenly you really do have eyes on you. What now? It may be kind of scary sometimes. Some of you may have imposter syndrome to some degree, and you'll be moving through that. You'll be learning how to move through that. But a lot of you will be gaining some kind of fame. It could be local fame. It could be just within your company. It could just be within your small community, who knows, it doesn't have to be fame globally or even within your country. It doesn't have to be that big, but some of you are coming into positions of power and responsibility and being seen. And I wouldn't surprise me a bit if you weren't a little scared. And that's just super normal. And Pluto's going to help you deal with your fears, moving through the fears so you can rebuild your career in a way that really works for you. This will be a very innovative time. I want to use the words innovation and invention more than I want to use the word creativity, because it really is more, like the mind of the, mad scientist kind of. It really is kind of a more like genius people usually have there's a little sense of wackiness, and like they're so unusual. Like true geniuses are so unique and kind of strange sometimes because they're on a totally different wavelength. That's kind of where you are in terms of your career and your public self. And so, you want to lean into that it's okay to be, to use your genius and to be seen as a little wacky, to be seen as strange, to be seen as eccentric, but also brilliant. It's the eccentric, brilliant person. Those are the vibes that you have here. And you may find you want to really work with and for, or have people work for you who are also like that. So the weirdos. If you're hiring, if you're in a position of power and you want to hire the strange, bizarre, weirdo geniuses. And you want to surround yourself with the weirdos. That's what I want to say, but smart weirdos. And you're going to have kind of a yearning to do that. And then it also benefits you. It creates sometimes a chaotic environment. So part of Pluto is you figuring out how to deal with that. If you're in charge in some way or the organizer in some way, it's like, how do you create a system? And whatever it is you're doing up here, it could be a charitable endeavor, like an NGO. It could be, I don't know, anything. It could be anything you're out doing in the world. And some of you, it's going to be making money. So this gives you the ability to make a lot of money, possibly, but the trick will be figuring out how to control the chaotic mind, your own, and also others. So using technology is one of the keys. Using futuristic thinking, leaning into, AI tools, for example, might be a way to make this work, but definitely using technological, software that helps you organize, stay on track, manage projects. So using your tech is going to help. You may find you're just traveling more than ever, that you have more of a global reach, some of you. Even if you do something seemingly small and domestic, like there's an example, I forget which community I was in, where there was this woman who made $1 bazillion teaching people how to make caramel apples. And she just did this, on Zoom, through videos. And there she is in her little kitchen somewhere, small town America, making caramel apples and making a bunch of money. That's an example, so you don't have to be out doing something that seems huge and powerful, but that person, that woman who made the caramel apples, was powerful in her own way, and maybe is still today, because she, really tapped into something that people wanted, and she was using technology effectively. So again, you don't, if it scares you, you're like, I don't want to be public. I don't want, if you're an introvert or shy, or, you just don't want, you can still huddle in your little corner of the world, doing something that seems relatively small, but something that you're good at, and you have some new method or some interesting way to do something, and still be seen in a way that feels comfortable to you, and still maybe make a lot of money and be at the top of your field. So it is possible. So that's the next 20 years. It will not all be like falling off a log easy. It won't be a cakewalk. I'm just thinking of like ways to say it's not going to be easy all the time. There will be cycles. You will be fearful sometimes. You'll have to confront your fears over and over and over. But you'll be learning how to do that at the same time. Learning how to be in fear and move through it. Learning how to confront your worst fears about yourself, moving through it. And maybe doing some personal like image makeovers along the way to help yourself out, to make you feel better inside. It's not always about what other people think and molding in fact, it's opposite of that with Aquarius. It's not that you're molding yourself to be more likable to others. It's more that you're in your weirdest form. And by doing that, people love you. So that's the conundrum of Aquarius and Pluto and Aquarius. But learning, being super authentic in your own weirdest self, the one that you maybe have tried to mask in the past, is scary, culturally scary. So, you may struggle with that along the way and have some feelings about it, but you'll be learning how to move through it, and it'll be an adventure. Just think of the word adventure. That is you. You're on an adventure.